Today's What If we introduce a new concept. What if Aang got corrupted and destroyed? This What If is a part of a new series called Mini What If, where it is a 1 or 2 part series which can be easily summed up quickly rather than having a long storyline. Also, since it is October, we can now start to do more what ifs where the world is crazy in the world of Avatar and falls. Now, let's get back into the story. Now, you might be asking yourself, how could Aang be corrupted, or what does that even mean? Well, in the final part of the series, when Avatar Aang fights Ozai and decides to use energy bending to take away Ozai's firebending forever, the Lion Turtle says that if you're unsuccessful in taking away the other person's bending, you will be corrupted and destroyed. So, in this timeline, Ozai is pure willpower and stubbornness allows him to Aang to be corrupted and destroyed. As the blue light loses the battle between the red light, and the red light consumes Aang entirely. And this is where Aang is destroyed. As after that, the red light overtakes Aang, and a red light of beacon is cast into the sky, which is a lot more violent than normal. It fades away as Aang falls to the ground, dying in the process, ultimately ending the Avatar cycle until the next harmonic convergence of 171 AG. As Ozai stands up, having freed himself from those earth cuffs, he laughs, says, "Finally, the era of the Avatar has come to an end, and I will now rule as Phoenix King Ozai." As Ozai uses the remaining of his firebending to get away from the scene, and leaving Aang to be there. As then, later, Sokka, Toph, and Suki go to find Aang on the ground, limp. Sokka says, "Aang." He then tells Toph to check his breathing, and Toph confirms no pulse, as it is declared as Aang has been ended by Fire Lord Ozai. Sokka then says, "We should fly back immediately, alert the others that Ozai is still out there." Hours pass as they tell the others that Ozai is still out there and that he killed Aang. Everyone, including Katara, has a shocked expression on their face as they say, "No, this can't be." As Zuko even further demonstrates the amount of hatred he has for his father, and he decides that he will be the one to eliminate him once and for all. Zuko then says, "Tell everyone the fight is not over. We need a search party and an immediate army for Fire Lord Ozai." As the day goes on and a meeting is held, unlike in the one in canon, this one is more sad, as they declared Aang to be recognized as a symbol of hope who will motivate others to take down tyrants like Ozai. As Zuko then says, "We shall find him and take justice into our own hands," as the crowd cheers. Katara, Sokka, and Toph, and the others who knew Aang are all saddened but how he lost. This is not knowing that he was actually killed by energy bending and he was destroyed. As months pass, the search party would at least hopefully find Ozai, and as Ozai is found, he fights back, injuring 2 soldiers in the process. As Ozai then says, "They found me after months of hiding." As hours pass, a confrontation between Zuko and Ozai is held, as Zuko does not hold back as he attacks Ozai along with the army. Now, I would say that with Ozai being outnumbered, and since we don't know how powerful Ozai is without the comment, as you said, he was the most powerful firebender in the series. So taking that into consideration, it would be a struggle until Ozai then decides to lightning bend. Forgetting Zuko can redirect it, and then the fight ends as Zuko redirects it back at Ozai. Now, for those who might say, if Ozai did not lightning bend here, then Zuko would have not won. But with all the pain and suffering Zuko has went through, he would surely channel it into his bending, using it as a reason to take down Ozai. As either way, Ozai is going down. Eventually, we can go to where the comic events happen. And the events take place in the Avatar comics where Zuko spends his time promising to Aang that he will not become as bad as Ozai and will rule the Fire Nation so it does not happen again. Zuko, during this time, finds his mother, assuming that most of the comic villains are defeated by the remaining forces of Team Avatar. We can finally skip this as it is not important if everything goes well according to plan. And if Republic City is created, we can go 7 years later, as a statue of Aang is held now wide over the city. Now, since the Avatar cycle is broken, and since Korra should appear around this timeline and has not, it would be safe to assume that many of the world leaders, including Zuko, think the Avatar cycle is broken again, but Katara still believes that maybe another Avatar is trapped and is saved by the Avatar state. Now, this would be the eventual downfall of Republic City, assuming that the first villain of Korra is again Amon, a revolutionist and a leader for non-benders. How would this happen? As we know, Aang took away the bending of Yukon, but it would be a change considering that Aang is not there anymore, so somebody else would have to do it. However, in this timeline, since energy bending killed Aang and is forgotten, they would probably have to end Yukon or imprison him for life by a much older Team Avatar. Now, the problem is who could defeat Amon in this timeline since there is no Avatar. I would say that the metal bending police force would all probably be puppets under Amon control, considering how easily they were defeated in the main timeline. Eventually, the Equals take over Republic City as it is easier this time with no Avatar. As the world once again starts to fall without the Avatar, they realize that no one can defeat the villains like this or an organization as strong enough to take them down. Now, what would the Equalists want with the world? They want to remove all benders, and during this time, they plan to spread throughout the four nations. And now, assuming if Unalaq is alive in this timeline, considering the events going on in the world, he attempts to open the spirit portals. But since the Avatar is the only one who could open the portals, Unalaq gives up and tries to do it another way. Now, the thing is with Unalaq is there is no other way to open the spirit portals without the Avatar help, so he eventually gives up on that idea and eventually tries to fight Amon. However, in this timeline, Amon and his army, especially with those mecha tanks and mecha suits, they would have no time defeating Unalaq, as he is outnumbered and eventually has his bending taken away. Now, the next arc of this timeline would be the Red Lotus, considering that Zahir got his airbending after harmonic convergence. If he is successful in staying hidden from Amon's forces, and he escapes and frees the other group members of the Red Lotus, this time the target would be Amon. To sum it up quickly, them versus Amon and his army would probably be good, as it would be a good challenge for them, as Amon has a lot of help from his army, and as they begin to remove all benders from society, they would eventually form a society where it's ruled by mecha suits and people who just rely on technology. So eventually the Red Lotus would be defeated, considering how they were defeated in the timeline. They would have no time fighting the Avatar. Eventually, if they do take out Amon, the world would now be in anarchy, which is exactly what they want, as they have removed all leaders from the society. And I think this would be the ultimate fate of this timeline, and how one event in this story could majorly impact the rest of the story. This is where the world ends and lives in anarchy until another hero shows up. Anyway, that's it for this what if. If you want me to expand on this what if, then it would be helpful to leave comments in the comment section down below. Now, as for making a part 2 of this what if, or if I could explain it some more,